My name is Frida, and this is my book review of The Mythology of Plants, Botanical Lore from Ancient Greece and Rome by Annette Giesecke. So, I have read quite a bit of books about flower symbolism by now, and I am sad to say that this was probably my least liked book of all the ones I've read on this subject. But because everyone is different and everyone likes different things, I am going to tell you specifically the things I didn't like, so you can figure out if you would actually really enjoy what I didn't like. So yeah. Maybe it's unnecessary to say that because that's how book reviews work, but I thought I would anyway. But first, I'll start with the book structure and what's actually inside this pretty little thing. So this is just a closer look at what the cover and backside of this book looks like, and what you'll find if you take off the dust cover. So yeah, very pretty, no complaints there. The first thing we see when we open this book is a beautiful painting of the Oracle of Delphi. I love this painting because you can really see that she is seeing something the rest of us can't. Then comes the content page, and here is the first thing I don't like about this book. The flowers do not come in alphabetical order. They are instead sorted by things like gods in love and hubris and human excess, so more by what the myths the plants are attached to are about. You might like that, but it was not my cup of tea. Then there's the preface, where it's explained how the book works, with things like how all the plants in this book have been taken from the Roman poet Ovid's Metamorphoses, and how the plants were used in ancient Greece and Rome. Then comes the acknowledgements, and after that an introduction about various gardens in the ancient world. Then we have some facts about Ovid's Metamorphoses and himself. If you are interested in that poem, but don't want to read the whole thing, then this is an amazing book to substitute it with. If you, however, have no interest in that, I don't recommend it, because everything mythology related in this book is taken from that poem. Then starts the individual plants. The plants featured in this book are bay laurel, pomegranate, hyacinthus, poppy anemone, narcissus, and grape and ivy. Side note, is anyone else mad that people censor sexual assault to grape? Because that is now the first thing that pops into my head every time someone is talking about fruit grapes. I mean, who thought it was a good idea to ruin 2 words? Sorry for the rant. We continue with olive, common mirth, oak and lindel, black mulberry, apple, arcanite, barley, crocus, cypress, frankincense, heliotrope, lily, lotus, mint, mushroom, pine, poplar, reed, similux, and violet. That is a lot of flowers shoved into one poem, and I started to wonder how there was space for all that. So I looked it up, how long that poem is, and apparently it can be somewhere between 400 to 750 pages, depending on which translation you're reading. So if the only thing you're interested from that poem are the plants, then you'll definitely save yourself some time by just buying this book instead. Finally, the book ends with a map of the Mediterranean in ancient times, and a glossary. And oh, how I love glossaries in books. I just love it when a book doesn't assume you already know everything in it. And also there are sources and suggestions for what you can read next. So that's the book. Now I will talk some more about what I liked and didn't like about this book while doing some art. Now, I am mostly interested in mythology and symbolism when it comes to plants. So I did not like how much time was spent on just facts that were not that. Like how tall it was, or where it grew, or came from. Don't get me wrong, I think those kinds of things has a spot in books like these. I just thought there was too much of it. And I really wish there could have been some fact-checking on the medicinal ways the plants were used. I mean, for some of the plants, the list of medical uses people thought they had were just enormous. And I would have loved it if there had been some inclusions of which one of these were legitimate uses and which were complete bullshit. Because we know some plants are not just placebos and work just like everyone had always said they did. Like Achillea mytholium, which were used as recently as World War I in the trenches when they ran out of medicine. Maybe it's too much to ask for a flower book mostly based around an ancient poem to dig around modern medical trials, but I would have appreciated it nonetheless. For all the flowers in the beginning of the book, there was an excerpt from that poem that contained the myth surrounding that particular plant. For the most part, I didn't like how much of the book were just excerpts from full text and not just summaries. But for Apple, the myth was Atalanta, and I was actually really happy to get to read that, because that is my favorite Greek myth, and I have only ever heard summaries of it. So this is definitely just a preference thing. Speaking of summaries, if you like those around myths and legends and stuff, you have to check out Overly Sarcastic Production. That channel was the best part of my Fridays when I was a teen. My favorite plant to read about was pomegranate, which I've previously only thought related to Hades and Persephone, but it turns out that it has ties to multiple goddesses and gods. And in the Apple pages, it says that the Greeks and Romans sometimes called several fruits apple, including pomegranate. I wonder if that's why we in Sweden call them granatäpplen, or grenade apples, which in my opinion is a much better name for them than pomegranate. So that was my book review of The Mythology of Plants, Botanical Lore from Ancient Greece and Rome by Annette Giesecke. I know I've talked a lot of shit about this book and said that it's my least favorite on the subject that I've read. And it is, but it's not a bad book in any way. It's just not my thing. But it could be yours, so do tell me if you found this interesting and if you are planning to read it. Bye!